Hello everyone. Welcome to another session on SQL Server. So today we are going to look at temp hours. Today we are going to look at the topics from session 11. So we will be looking at temporary tables, triggers, and transactions. So if you want to understand what are temporary tables, triggers, and transactions, a basic overview I had given in the previous video. So day 11, part 1. So please go ahead and take a look at it. So in this particular session, I'll straight dive into the code. Okay. Now temporary tables, just like you were using CTEs. So basically we also have something called as temporary tables. Will have its existence only for a while. Only during the session. And once you're out of the session, the tables will have no existence. Okay. So like for example, what we have here is select salesperson sum of revenue as total revenue. I want to insert it into top performers and which is like from daily sales. And then I just want to group by salesperson. Okay. And then I want to just do a select star from top performers where total revenue is greater than 500. Okay. So once I had grouped it, I have inserted it into a table. It will act like a table itself, a regular table. But make sure you are providing this hash to make it like a temporary table. Okay. Now, if I just go ahead and execute this query. Oh, sorry. Let me connect. Invalid object from daily sales. Okay, so let's see. We already have something called as daily sales. Let's see if we have a table called daily sales in day 11. So we're just looking at how do we debug. So basically the error says it's an invalid object daily sales. So let's see if we're pointing to the right database or not. Okay. The first thing is our database itself is not correct. Even though we have daily sales table in demo 11, since we have not pointed it to the correct database, that's why it's saying daily sales is an invalid object because the database master is not having the table daily sales. So what we will do, we'll just go ahead and repoint it to day 11 demo database. Okay, so now we are good to go. Okay, so now if you go ahead and execute, okay, so now you can see there is only one performer for who has total revenue more than 500 and his name is Bob. Okay, now after that, let's take a look at triggers. Okay, now, whenever we need to update money and silently write a record to another table just when the update is finished, okay, or any other delete activity if we are doing, and then whenever you're deleting it, I want the values to be or something to be written into an audit log table. In that particular scenario, we can use triggers. Okay, so here basically we are creating a trigger. So we'll start with go, create trigger, then we'll provide the trigger name. And whenever we are creating a trigger, um, okay, I'll come to that. Okay, so first, like we'll go create trigger, trg underscore bank account, sorry, bank audit, and I want to create a trigger on bank accounts. Okay, so if you see this bank accounts, this particular table, and this particular table will get a trigger. So yeah, so triggers are table specific. So basically we can mention like when I should, it should trigger if I have a particular command or particular input, and then I can write like or I can describe when that particular trigger should happen. Okay, or that particular trigger should take place, just like in any just like the name it says trigger, so it will trigger something once an event occurs. Like for example, here we are triggering an insert into audit log. Okay, where what we are inserting a bank account balance was modified. So this will be inserted into audit log. So whenever we are updating the bank account, so after update, as begin, insert into audit log values, and then end and go. Okay, now next, we will once you try to update anything in bank account, automatically it will trigger, and then this particular record will be noted. Okay, so now let's first create a trigger. Okay, so now the command successful, the trigger has been created. Okay, sorry. Now once the trigger has been created, so now if you go to the table and look at triggers, okay, so you can see the trigger has been created. Okay, now if you click or double click on this particular trigger, or no, refresh or script as drop, you can make all those changes in this particular trigger. Okay, now okay, now if I go ahead and make any transactional changes or update anything in this particular table, okay, which says bank bank accounts, so it will automatically a trigger or something will be created. Okay, so now let's test it out. So if I do, okay, now we can test it out rather than before testing. So let me just show you the audit log table. Okay, select star from audit log. Okay, we are getting a blank audit log. So there is no data written in this audit log. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make some transactions. Okay, now so, okay, so now in the next example, like if we are doing some transactions, okay, and while doing some transactions, I have to also make sure I'm protecting the data integrity, or making sure on the data integrity. Okay, now so here in this particular example, I want to safely transfer maybe $200 from checking to savings account. Okay, now to do that, basically, I'll start with the begin try, then I'll begin a transaction. Okay. So this is where the safety net starts. Okay. Now I will go ahead and create update bank accounts, set balance is equal to balance minus 200, because there is a 200 transfer, right? Where account ID is equal to 1. Okay. This is my first step. Okay. So in case if the server crashed right at this point without a transaction, okay. So what will happen? The first update will be successful, but the second and other updates will not be successful. Okay. So what transaction that does, it it commits or it runs all the scripts in one go. Otherwise, if there is an issue, it will revert back. Okay, so unless we put in commit transaction, all the commands that we have put in, it will not implement, it will revert back to its original state. Okay, now um, so we don't have a server to actually test it out, but yes, this is how it works. So first we have to start with begin try, and then begin transaction, update bank accounts, then account ID is equal to 1, and then basically I'm just creating account ID 1 and account ID 2, so that just we have to transact between two accounts. Okay. Now in the second case, or in the second update, it will transfer the $200 will transfer from bank accounts 1 to bank account 2. Okay, now once we do commit transfer, only then the entire process will complete, or both the updates will be committed. Okay, now then we have once the commit is successful, we have a transfer successful, and then we will end try. Okay, after that we'll set up a begin catch. Okay, and then if the tran count, okay, this is just a variable that we have created, okay, is greater than 0, then roll back transaction. Okay, roll back trans means basically whatever changes have happened, that it will just roll back. Okay, so this is an inbuilt transaction count. Okay, now next, it will just print um, a transfer failed, no money was moved, or print error message in case the transaction has failed. Then it will print these two lines, and finally the catch will, we will end the catch. Okay, so now let's go ahead and execute. Okay, now you can see all the rows have been executed. Transaction is successful, and total, this is the total execution time we can also see. Now, apart from that, if I want to check the bank accounts, okay, if I go ahead and execute this query, okay, so now you can see there have been $200 movement from account one to account two. And then if I go ahead and take a look at audit log, so you can see there's been two audits. Since we did two updates, so now we can see two audit logs. One was for bank account one, and the second one was for, this is log ID. So the second one is for the second update. Okay, first one is the first update, and second one is the second update. Okay, where we are subtracting a value and then we are adding a value. Okay. Now, so basically, this is how we can set up transactions. We can set up rollbacks, and then so in real time scenario, always make sure if it's a very critical project where or you're doing a lot of transactions, or it's a transactional system, you always work with tran and rollback. Okay, so with this, I will end this particular session. I hope you have liked the entire session. So this will be my last topic on SQL Server. In case if you feel there is some, I have missed some topics, feel free to comment. And if you have liked the entire series, I would appreciate if you can just comment, and share it with your friends. So thank you so much for having all the patience, and all the best. Thanks. Okay.